Hello and welcome to my channel. I'm trying to finish up my Christmas craft to-do list and I'm going to start with this primitive snowman. I started by printing a flour sack label onto a piece of fabric. To do this, I put spray adhesive onto a piece of cardstock and then put the fabric onto the sticky cardstock. I then just printed out the same as you would as if it were a piece of paper. I then cut it apart and set it aside. Next, I traced the snowman's body and nose onto a piece of muslin fabric. I then stitched all the way around the pieces on the drawn line and then cut them out. After cutting them out, I clipped the curves to give it a smoother seam. For the snowman's body, the directions say to leave a small opening in the bottom for turning it right side out, but I wanted to add some plastic pellets in the bottom, so I sewed it all the way around. I then cut a small slit along the neck and turned it right side out that way. Make sure you only cut through one layer of the fabric. Next, I added the plastic pellets and then stuffed the rest of the body with fiberfill. I also turned and stuffed the nose as well. I then sewed the nose and the neck closed and added a little hot glue over the stitches. For the neck, I glued on a small strip of fabric over the stitches as well. Next, I painted the nose and set that aside to dry. I then coffee stained the body and let that dry as well. Next, I cut out the hat pieces from a piece of felt and then sewed them together. Since I'm only loosely following the pattern directions, I'm going to use these candy canes instead of making a fabric one. I'm using a plastic candy cane and simply gluing on a strip of fabric. Next, I marked where the eyes and mouth will be, and I'm using black embroidery floss and a long needle to make it. I start by taking the needle and going through the top of the head and then having the needle come out through the eye. When you finish with the first eye, you then have your needle come up where the second eye is. You then do the same with the mouth. Once you get to the last part of the mouth, you have your needle come back out the top of the head. Since this one will have a hat, you don't have to worry about the knots on his head. If you didn't want him to wear a hat, you could work the knots into his head so they wouldn't show. Next, I glued on his nose. I then sewed on his flour sack label. You could glue it on, but I wanted the stitches to show. Next, I glued on his hat. I then poked a hole in the side and glued in the stick arms and also added a strip of fabric for his scarf. To decorate his hat, I glued on a scrap of fabric and added a small piece of greenery and a rusty snowflake. I also added a rusty bell and washer to his scarf. I found these little plastic lanterns in the Walmart's miniature ornament section, so I painted it brown and added a little bit of cinnamon. To finish it, I glued and tied the candy cane to one hand and added the lantern to the other. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this easy snowman, and I'll see you in the next video.